Hi everyone and welcome back to SwitchUp. And it's Sunday sales again, and we have a couple of my favourite games on the platform, as well as a few slightly cheaper ones, so that you can snap up those barjans for the price of a used Savaloy. And obviously you could always save yourself an extra 5%, which to be fair, something like 25% of our audience do, using code SwitchUp over at switchup.gg, which is amazing because we get a tiny little kickback from Nintendo and you save yourself a little bit of money. Alrighty then, what are the best games on sale this week? Welp, let's find out. Let's start off with the easy suggestion of Phoenotopia Awakening. If you haven't picked this one up so far, well, it's its cheapest ever price. It's down 55% to about £8. You'd struggle to get a bargain bucket with that. And this one is a brilliant side-scrolling action adventure that's around about 50 hours long. Now, it features 50 different enemy types and a fantastic soundtrack, and I've got to be honest with you, the guy that made it and the team that worked on it are just a bunch of absolute G's. We get on really well with them, and it was so nice to review this one. They're called Cape Cosmic, by the way, and if you're interested in watching a full review of this one, then check out the review. We've got a link in the top pinned comment as well as the description. It's Phoenotopia Awakening, and it's less than a gigabyte to download. That sale goes on until March the 7th. And if you've been around the channel for a while, we appreciate your support and watching our sponsored section, which is coming up now.
A thanks to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this episode. Raid Shadow Legends is an RPG that's completely free to play. There are over 650 unique champions to choose from and loads of bosses that you can fight. First up then, we've got my personal favourite, and that is the fire-breathing dragon. The best way to handle that is to bring champions that can sap its attacks, such as Kale, who is probably one of the best ones for taking these out. Then you've got the Fire Knight, who is a giant flaming knight with a humongous shield. For him, you're going to want to bring champions who can deal multiple attacks. That will help you to break down his shield, because without that, you won't actually be dealing any damage to him at all. A good choice would be someone like Athel. She does so many attacks that it makes that a lot more easy. This month, we have the Valentine's Day event. New players can enjoy a special Valentine's Day themed adventure with the Raid Love Quest. To get involved, just download Raid Shadow Legends using the links below, copy your in-game player ID, and then head to raidlovequest.plarium.com. This will be running from February the 14th to March the 14th, and you'll be able to play one of the Valentine's themed mini-games for a chance to win some fantastic in-game and real-life prizes. If you're an existing player, you can also head to the same website to find a special promo code, which will give you a small gift. As always, if you want to support us and try out a new game and you haven't started playing Raid yet, then click my link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen and you'll get unique bonuses worth $35. We're talking a free epic champion, Jotun, 100k silver, 50 gems, and 2 epic skill tomes.
Next up, we've got the incredible Snowunner. I know it seems like I'm talking about this so often, but it's seen some of its best ever sales, and there is still that small subset of people that refuse to believe that a game about driving trucks around the wilderness could possibly be as good as I say it is. Hopefully some of you can help me out in the comments, but it's incredible. It has a full mission structure and several huge, completely free roaming maps. And each of those maps has its own theme, so one's flooded, one's set in a frozen landscape where half of the roads are completely iced over, and it honestly feels more like an RPG. You can completely customize any truck or vehicle that you manage to get your hands on, and it is like that. If you find one that's stuck in the mud, you'll have to go to some serious efforts to retrieve it, but once you've got it, you can put it into your garage, fix it up, and there's just nothing quite like it. Finding one that's got like all-wheel drive, or that can have a particular type of trailer attached to it. I know it sounds so ridiculous, but it's awesome. And yeah, that sale for Snowunner goes on until March the 9th, and it's 9.5 gigs. OCEANHORN 2 originally released on iOS and was one of their Apple Arcade exclusives. We then saw it release on Nintendo Switch, and it's a really good game. It's just a bit too expensive. Now at the moment it's down to its cheapest ever price. I think it's £14.99 in the UK regions. Sorry US, I think yours has just finished. And it's very much, let's be honest, a Zelda clone. It has bright, vibrant colours. You essentially play as Link, but for copyright reasons he's not called Link. And I've got to say, developer Corn Fox Bros have brought everything to the package, I guess. You've got a very large world, a reasonably interesting quest to follow, decent combat with a lock-on mechanic, some nice puzzles, and it looks good as well. It is quite a pretty looking game. It's just 3.7 gigs, and that OCEANHORN 2 sale goes on until March the 23rd. Then I want to talk about what I would class as the emotional pick, and it's the Way Remastered. There was something about the storyline that really got me at the time when I first reviewed this. It's not the greatest adventure, but the story beats hit hard, and that opening segment in the graveyard, it's really quite memorable. Now this one is developed by Puzzling Dream and published by Sonka, and is around about 1 gigabyte, and it's a mixture of puzzles, real-time action, and narrative adventure that I thought came together really nicely. Now it includes HD rumble, it's fully voice acted as well, and it features a number of gameplay changes. Now I did have a few issues later on in the game. Right near the end it was a bit wonky, but I managed to fudge my way through, and it was worth it. For 89p, 93% off, you would quite literally struggle to buy a Kinder Bueno for that price. It is a bargain, and that sale goes on until March the 26th. That's the Way Remastered. Another lovely little adventure is The Gardens Between from the Voxel Agents, who also published it. And this is around about a 2 or 3 hour long adventure featuring 2 siblings. Now what's very nice about this is it almost uses nostalgia as a gameplay mechanic. Each of the screens act as a puzzle, and you can move time forwards and backwards, and you'll have to do slight changes and alterations to the environment to complete what are essentially environmental puzzles. Thinking about it, they're not actually siblings at all, they're actually best friends, and it's got a really whimsical feel to it. One of those games that will put a bit of a smile on your face, but also make you feel a bit, I don't know, a bit sad about some of the past memories and things. There are lots of references to 80s and 90s culture, and it has a really nice soundtrack as well. It's just 1.6 gigs, and that sale for The Gardens Between goes on until March the 12th. It's 82% off. Anyone who's been around the channel for quite a while, you might remember Planet Alpha, but hopefully you remember Jace Glover, who used to do reviews for us. He's an absolute legend, and he bought this one for us back when we were starting out. He essentially bought it so that he could do the review, and he just smashed it. Now it's developed by Planet Alpha Apps and was published by Team 17, and it had a bit of Clockwork Knight style gameplay to it, where you were moving through the environments from a side perspective. You're not entirely sure how you ended up on this planet, and the environments will tell the story almost as you work your way through them. In its best moments, it looks absolutely beautiful, and I know Jace thoroughly enjoyed it. For about £3 and clocking in at 3.5 gigs, you could certainly do a lot worse than this, and it will take you maybe 5 or 6 hours to finish Planet Alpha. That sale goes on until March the 1st. I know there won't be many of you that really like this next suggestion. It'll really be for those looking to experience a nostalgic game that perhaps doesn't hold up quite as well as it once did, and it's Flashback. 10 points to anyone who can name the inspiration of this one, but they are pretty unforgiving side-scrolling adventure platformers. Now this version features a few special effects that you can put over the top. They're essentially just Instagram filters, but they did fully remaster the sound and music, so it does sound a lot better than it did originally. They have included a few quality of life things as well, including a rewind function, so that if you die you can just rewind, as well as tutorials. Now if you didn't get the clue at the start there, the game I was talking about is Another World, and actually that's on sale at the moment as well in most regions. But I did love Flashback back in the day. It was developed by Paul Culset, or at least it is here, and is published by Microids. That sale goes on until March the 12th. The sequel to Figment is shaping up so nicely, it looks brilliant. But back when Glen did the review for Figment 1, and he thought it was a brilliant if slightly unusual time. Now, from my opinion, it kind of reminds me of Little Big Adventure. It has that isometric perspective and that otherness to it. But at the moment, at £1.79, that's 90% off the RRP. And if you're looking for a good little action puzzle adventure game, this was critically acclaimed across the board, receiving mainly 8s and 9s out of 10. It's all based around these nightmarish emotional encounters that you have to fight through, and the experience is tied between the action and the rhythm of the music. It plays a really big part in it. It clocks in at around about 1.7 gigs, and it definitely bridges that line between computer game and work of art. It just looks incredible. Consider picking up Figment at the bargain price of $179 until March the 18th. And if you're wondering why I keep saying the name of the game at the end of each section, that's because apparently there are a lot of people that just listen to these videos while they're working with headphones, and they always forget what the game is, so I'm saying it twice. Then we have a couple of sales which are going on for much longer in the US region. You may find they've already finished in the UK, but they really are essential pickups. You've got Tales of Iron, which Asdin reviewed for us, and it's a side-scrolling Metroidvania, but with Souls-like combat, like a Soulsvania, featuring the voice of Doug Cockle, aka Geralt of Rivia. This one, unfortunately for it, came out at a time where there were tons of other big releases, and as I always say, it just got swamped. It starts out in a brilliant fashion, and there's something about the artistic direction here that works so well. It's an incredibly unique looking game. Now, I'm pretty sure there's been a few updates to this one, and if I'm not mistaken, they've added in some more content. Now, someone will have to let me know down in the comments, but I'm sure I read somewhere that they've put in some more things. It features some brilliant boss fights. You can brew up recipes. Wow. Jonathan Wass. You can craft weapons and you can forge your own armor here as well, using different blueprints. And yeah, I sincerely hope they do a sequel to this, because it's a great game. It's developed by Oddbug Studios and published by United Label, and that sale for Tales of Iron goes on until March the 7th in the UK. That takes us on to the hidden gem of the week, and this time round it's the rather brutal Eldest Souls. Yes, you can't have the name Souls in a game and it be easy, and that's the case here. It's essentially a top-down, well, isometric boss rush game featuring real-time action combat, and they stripped out all of the in-between combat that you'd find in a Souls experience. So you can literally just retry the bosses, and then once you've beaten one, you move on to a brand new area. There's a bit of narrative, there'll be a few NPCs and things like that. But I was so impressed by what the team did. It's developed by Fallen Flag Studios, and every single one of those bosses is so well designed. You know when you play a game and it feels very unfair? That's not the case here. It feels like every boss has been meticulously created so that the only determining factor is your own skill, which is going to instantly put some people off. I loved it. I mean, I have a very obvious and known soft spot for difficult games. So if you don't, then maybe don't buy this one. But if you like a bit of a challenge, then Eldest Souls is just $9.30. That's 65% off. It may still be on sale in the UK, but I can't guarantee it. And that's in the US until March the 7th. Now, there are lots and lots of games still on sale. Most of them will be coming to an end in the UK, so the US really is the place to go if you've got multiple eShop accounts. One thing I will say is if you're a physical collector, Digimon Survive at the moment in the UK is 56% off at Amazon. So if you can get that one, it's well worth snapping up. It's a slightly different experience. Again, we've got a full review of it, but I think it's brilliant. If you're in the US, why don't you try or at least consider Darksiders Genesis if you're a fan of something like Diablo. This uses that isometric perspective, obviously within the Darksiders universe, but it's so underrated. Like, it's not as good as Diablo, but it's still very enjoyable, and you can play 1 or 2 players local co-op. It has online play as well, and you're getting a ton of game for that price. The other Darksiders experiences are on sale, aside from Way Remastered Edition, which is absolutely brilliant. The other two have some real performance issues, which really gets on my nerves, especially Darksiders 3. I mean, the performance is a joke, and it hasn't had any patches. So yeah, there's loads of other games. Please do recommend them down in the comments. Congratulations to the winner of our game from our interesting games list. Your name is in the top pinned comment. All that's left to say is do save yourself 5% on some of these if you're interested, and for all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers, guys. See ya!